Obviously, one of the big reasons I have you on the show and why you're here this week. December just came out this week. New track from you and Craig Cooney. Obviously, we had him on last week. But for you, what was that like? Tell me about it.
Oh, it was great. So basically, me and Colin were going to a recording session, and he had Craig on. He's like, "Do you know Craig?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I've heard of him, but I don't know if I know him." And he started playing this song, and I was like, "Colin, put me on a track with him." I was like, "Just do it." So
Do you know, Craig's was the same response. I asked him what it was like and how he got to meet you. And if you haven't watched it, his response was like, when he finally got to come and record you, he said he walked in and he heard you singing and he was just awestruck, just standing there. As soon as he heard it, he was like, "This is insane."
Yeah. Oh bless. But yeah, no, so I heard his stuff and I really liked it because he's very positive. And it's not that whole woe is me, curse and whatever. It's just really decent music, and it's hip hop, which I wouldn't typically listen to, but no, I just thought he was brilliant. And yeah, so Craig, or Colin obviously manages him, so I was like, just make it happen. So he then Craig DM'd me and we were like, yeah, let's do this. He said he really liked my stuff. I was like, I love your stuff, let's do it. But we had to do it all over Zoom. We never got to meet each other before we were in the studio, which I thought would be much worse than it was. It was actually grand. So it was kind of me, Colin, Cormac Kavanagh, who's the producer, and Craig, just on loads of Zoom calls, and they had kind of a track built, and they're like, "Sarah, can you sing over that?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'll have a listen to it, whatever." And then I had earlier this year, my brother kind of said, "Oh, you should write a not so optimistic Christmas song, whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, I really like that idea." So I actually wrote the bridge in January, which is a little spooky because it's kind of dark, and then we had the year we had, and I was like, "Whoa, did my subconscious?"
It was your fault. You scutted us. You done it to us all.
I jinxed us all. So that happened, and then I kind of was looking through my notes at different kind of hooks and stuff I had, and I was like, "Guys, how do you feel about a Christmas song?" And I think they all thought I was mad, but they were in fairness to them, we're just yeah, sure, let's do it. So it was really and then we were like, why are we doing this? Because it was we're not used to working over Zoom, B hip hop and pop and trying to combine it, and then Christmas song, how do you write a Christmas song? It was really hard. I was this is hard. And Craig, but yeah, in fairness, we we just pulled it together because we had to. And then kind of lockdown came in, and we were we were just kind of wrapping it up, and it was we're going into level 5 on Thursday. I was in Mayo, and it was on the Monday, and we're like, okay, I guess we have to have this recorded by Thursday then. So it was but it was really fun, and the guys are just so good to work with. They're just so positive, just so get it done. In terms of working with the team, I'm not used to working with the team that large, but in terms of working with the team, it was just couldn't fault it. They're just,
the team was damn massive. That's what I said when so for anyone that hasn't seen, I have a react to this song because I never got to hear the full song before the release. I heard snippets, and then when the full song came out, I jumped straight on and done a react. So I'll drop a link for that below. Go check it out. But that's what I said in the track as well, because there's so many people. I don't even know everyone's name, and I work on the track as well, and I still don't know everyone's name.
Yeah, no, it was a huge team, and I should probably list everyone out now, but I'm afraid.
Craig tried it. Craig had to keep a list in front of him when he done it as well.
Yeah, but everyone was just so, because sometimes you might work with people and you're kind of oh, they're just doing this because they have to, or they're not into it. But everyone was just so motivated. Cormac was just brilliant when we were coming out with her silly demands, and Hugh was mixing the track, and we were like, okay, we actually want this now, we want that. Rihanna, who took the photos first, she's an angel. We were in the park with the tree. Have you seen that? Yeah,
I've seen the photos, but Craig said this was one of his funnest parts of doing it, was when he got to do the photo shoot with you. And Craig said he's were just standing, he's covered in lights, and there's kids just walking past, Daddy, what's he doing?
We looked so ridiculous. It was one of those times where it's just one of those pinch me moments in the worst senses, in why am I dressed in Christmas lights doing up a Christmas tree in the park? But in fairness, I was just Rihanna, there's no way that these photos can be usable. But in fairness, she's just brilliant. She's so good at what she does, and very patient with us. But it was hilarious, yeah, and it was just so funny because Craig is obviously so cool, and then we're all just like, we just look like idiots. But it was brilliant crack. It was a great day. And yeah, and then just in terms of like getting the song out there and Kieran doing all the graphics for us, they're just absolutely phenomenal. So we were just so blessed that like so many people wanted to work with us and believed in the track, and were just very accommodating to us and all our all our crazy demands. But it was just such a lovely atmosphere, and yeah, they're all a joy to work with.
Did you have a favorite part of the entire production? You know, Craig said like his was doing that photos and like just actually getting to like have the fun. But did you have a
Yeah.
favorite part? Was it like, you know, writing, recording, the waiting for it to come back? What was yours?
So I definitely enjoy all of it. Sorry, I definitely enjoy all of it, but I prefer the kind of parts where I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. Because like at the start, there's just so many variables, and it's all ideas. And you're like, you want the cover art to be like this, and you want the video to be like this, and you want it to sound like this, and you want this message to come across, and you want this kind of sound in this part, but then this kind of sound in that part, and you're like, it's all in your mind, and you're all talking about it, but it's all in your minds, and you're just trusting that everyone in their mind is the same as what's in your mind, which is like, and like obviously brilliant team, and I did have like faith. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. But when it starts to come to life and feel more real, and you've gotten past the like, oh, don't heat that part, that'll be fixed, or like don't heat that, and then you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna trust it'll all be fine. And then once it all comes together, and you're like listening to the track, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's okay, it sounds good. And then you're like getting the artwork done. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, this looks like. So for me, kind of seeing it all come together is definitely the part that I enjoy the most, just because I'm like, okay, it's gonna be okay. So does that count as part of the process? Like,
That's just part of the process, the getting the proper system in place. But
yeah,
you've already said it there, but you know, when you were going to work together and you kind of didn't know what you were going to do it about, and then your brother said, "Why don't you do a Christmas song?" Was there a certain message you wanted to get out with your portion of the song and with your lyrics in there?
yeah. So I have thought about this a lot, and Christmas, like, and I've kind of thought this every year. It's like, some people might have someone who passed away during the year, or someone might have had like a financial difficulty, or their just mental health's not the best, or even like I think some people just find Christmas a really hard time of year because they're spending like extended periods of time with their family that they might not be used to. And like you often hear people like having massive fights on Christmas Day, or like someone getting really stressed out over cooking the turkey or whatever.
That sounds like my house.
But so like I just always kind of like, there's always someone on Christmas that you're thinking of, and like, oh, like, or like, the year after your grandparents pass away, and you're just like, oh, it's not the same. And like, there's so many years where I've been like, oh, it's not the same now because such a person's not here, or because such a thing has happened. And then you're like walking around, and it's like, it's the most happiest time, and you're like, oh, but like am I just a Grinch that like I'm not like, oh my god, it's the best time ever? Like I love Christmas. I love like seeing my friends and my family and just like hanging out and all that stuff. But like when there's this like pressure that you have to be like, this is amazing, and you want it to be Christmas every day, and I'm just like, for a lot of people that's literally just rubbing salt in the wound. Like, Christmas can be a hard time some years, and like that's okay and that's normal, and like, life's not perfect. So I suppose what I wanted to get across in the song was like, just enjoy what you can and take the best of what you can. And like, if that's catching up with your family, but you can't give each other presents because you're all broke, or if it's like, you have to spend it somewhere that you didn't expect, but like just making the most of it and just accepting that and not putting pressure on yourself to feel amazing or have the best Christmas ever or make it the best Christmas ever, or like, especially because this year I think Christmas is going to be very different for everyone. And like I'd hate to think that like I'd hate to think that like people will be like, oh, like this is crap, like it's not the same, like let's just forget about Christmas this year. It's like, no, just like it's not the same, but enjoy the parts that you can. Yeah, you don't have to have the best time of your life, but just enjoy the parts that you can. Some years are good, some years are bad, like, and then like Christmas comes around like so often. Like, if it's not great, like you have another chance next year.
It's only every 365 days. Like it's not you have to wait long.
But yeah, so just, sorry, I'm rambling, but just make the most of it, but don't feel like it has to be amazing, or if you are upset on Christmas Day, or you don't feel up to it, or you can't give people the presents that you want to, like, don't beat yourself up. Just enjoy what you can.